Good. Okay.
Channel created.
We work pretty well together. Good. Okay. Hello and good evening to this round 10 of the historic sim racing organization BTCC 1996 Championship, coming to you tonight from Oulton Park, the Foster's layout. Where you go, the layout where you go down through cascades, the downhill left-hander, and then you take off straight instead of about halfway through the left-hander and go straight down into a very tight second or third gear right-hander. We'll have a look at the circuit in a bit, just doing some small housekeeping in the meantime. Let's quickly go through the standings before we head into qualifying for this event. After round 9 at Knockhill last time out, race winner from that event, if memory serves correctly, Peter Blom is still in the lead in the championship in his Honda Accord on 183 points. Richard Coxon in the Renault lies second after having passed Greg Goyson 2 rounds ago, I believe, and he's sitting on 162 points. And he's followed by Greg himself, who won't be driving with us tonight. I believe Jason White is standing in for him tonight in the Volvo, but Greg himself has 147 points. Jan Titz, our early rounds leader in the championship, is currently 4th in his Audi, and he has so far scored 137 points. And Swede Jakob Fredriksson, who has jumped around a little bit, didn't have a constant drive early on in the season, but he is 5th, and he has 107 points, and he won't be driving tonight either due to other commitments. Looking further down the standings, we still have Richard Wilkes in 6th, now on 81 points. David Yates isn't partaking in the championship regularly anymore. He will be, hopefully, be taking part in one or two more rounds, but we'll see as time goes. But he is on 59 points, and the same goes for Yves Placet in the BMW, who has seen an upswing late in the championship, but he won't be driving tonight. Matthias Weber is 9th on 42 points, and he has a fair chance of progressing 2 positions up the standings if he scores some decent points tonight, which I feel that he should be able to do, considering the Foster's layout is pretty much a handling circuit, and the Nissan is probably one of the best there is in the handling department. And rounding out the top 10 is Ricard Soania, who partook in the two first rounds of the championship on 41 points. In the Independence Cup, Dave Simmons is in the lead on 199 points in his Vauxhall Cavalier. He has won several races this season and passed Hansa Mild, I believe, after round 5. And Hansa himself is in one of the Team Dynamics Ford Mondeos, and he has 159 points he has been struggling a little bit later in the season due to lack of practice time. Mick Chapman lays third, Honza's teammate, on 134 points, and he's in a tight and entertaining battle with Norwegian Øyvind Andersen, who's on 132 points. And Andersen is driving the Toyota Carina. And fifth in a Vauxhall Cavalier is David Saber on 99 points, our qualifying hotshot, but unfortunately he hasn't quite been able to convert his poles in the Independence Cup to wins, but you never know. He did win the last race at Silverstone 2 rounds ago, so he may be able to repeat that tonight, but we'll see. As you can hear in the background, all the cars has headed out into qualifying. It'll be a very tight affair, I believe, because the circuit is quite short and there's a lot of cars that has to compete about the space as we jump on board with Javier Perez Mato, who is driving Yves Place's BMW for this round. Let's see if we can find someone to ride on board with. That is Richard Wilkes, so let's jump on board with Richard here and have a look at the circuit as we come down into Old Hall. Just realized I've forgotten to write down the names, but I should have them somewhere around. There we go, my apologies. Let's see if we can jump on board with someone heading on another lap. Here is Richard's teammate, I believe. Yep, in the form of Peter Blom. Heading down Cascades here. And then he breaks off into Foster's, running very deep, very wide. That is very easily done. And into Brooklands, which is only a right-hander and not a chicane that we saw in an earlier round. And then it's Clay Hill that we just went past, and now it's Druids, a double right-hander. Or you make it one corner, but it's technically 2 apexes. As he backs off, heading into Lodge, this right-hander. And Deer Leap is this little crest right here, where we hopefully could hear just a little bit of a race and revs. Oh, as you can see, Peter running wide yet again. Trying to get a good feeling here by the looks of things, but struggling just a little bit. Let's see, currently Jan Tits is sitting on pole position in the Audi, very fitting considering Frank Bila won one of the races in this round in real life. The other race, the first race of the evening, or the day as it were for them, was won by Alan Menu in the Renault. And I also noticed that second currently is actually not Oliver Thiem, because Johan Boos has jumped up into second position. That's very impressive from him in the Ford. He has been struggling a little bit. He's seen a bit of an upswing in the last few rounds, but it looks like he's found a bit more pace yet again. And here is Åcerclinth, who I noticed was second but now third. Doing a good job in that Nissan. As I suggested, the Nissan should be pretty good around here. And he's following Øyvind Andersen in that red and white Toyota. Oh, as he touches the grass, oh dearie me. That's very unfortunate. Let's see, fourth currently is he really fourth? No, sorry, there's been a few more quick times. But Dylan Camden is currently on pole in the Independence Cup, so that's very impressive indeed. Let's see, did I jump one too far? I did indeed. That's Matthew Hull, as we saw last time out. I swapped to the Vauxhall Vectra. But Peter Blom has jumped up into pole position for the time being. He's yet again very much on the pace, as we've seen for most of the championship. He was struggling in the first 2 rounds, but then he's been on the money, almost on 2 wheels there. Held on to it very nicely. I'll just make a quick adjustment. Notice the engine sound seems to be just a little bit low. So let's go with that, I think. There we go. My apologies for being a bit unprofessional, but it is what it is. Let's see, second by the looks of things is Richard Wilkes. So the Honda team is having a good evening at the moment. Jan Titz has slipped down to third, but still doing a very nice job indeed. Fourth is 14, that's Matthias Weber. So he too is having a nice little qualifying session here. So both the Nissans of Weber and team is doing a good job. And by the looks of things, keeping up with the faster cars at the moment. And Richard Coxon seems to be sitting in 5th in the Hoy number 4 Renault. And 6th is, never quite learned, Miroslav Havlik. I wonder if he may have improved on that lap. He did indeed, he went up into... My apologies, I have been a slight bit misinformed / I haven't been looking properly. Titz was second, Blom first. Coxon just jumped up to third, with Weber 4th, Havlik 5th. You have Boss 6th, 7th for Oliver Team, 8th for Nikos Diakopoulos. My apologies, new drivers takes just a little bit of time to getting used to and remembering their full names. And 9th, I believe at least, yep, it's Richard Wilkes, and rounding out the top 10 and still on pole in the Privateer Cup is Dylan Campton in the Yacht Motorsport Honda Accord. So as we can see, the Hondas are, by the looks of things at least, is the cars to have for this round. As you can see, one of the Renaults spinning up ahead. Wow. Nice avoidance by Ivan Andersen, and good awareness from whoever was driving that Renault. I couldn't see the number or name to pull off the track quickly and efficiently. Very sideways for Canton there. Looking a bit further down, Ray Riddell is currently in 11th. 12th for David Sabre, I'd assume that is. It is indeed. 13th for Frank de Chavannes, also a new driver to the championship. He was supposed to partake at Knock Hill as well, but unforeseen situations prevented him from taking part there. 14th for Matthew Hull. 15th for Dave Simmons. 16th for Ivan Andersen. 17th for Hansa Mild. 18th for Jason White, so he is struggling just a little bit. The Volvo could probably get just a little bit higher up the grid, but still looking pretty good. I haven't really watched him drive, but I know that he is fairly consistent, or I should say very consistent. Just that bad luck sometimes manages to find him, as with many drivers. 19th for Javier Perez Mato. 20th for Mick Chapman. And we seem to have only 20 drivers at the moment. Let's ride on board with this Ford Mondeo and enjoy the V6 engine sound for just a moment. So looking pretty good for Mick, but I wonder if he's keeping it in 5th going into Druids, and that being the reason for him being a bit him revving the engine quite a bit. Let's see, we can see Javier Rosmato in the gravel and in the barriers. Finally being able to try to find reverse as we Frank de Chavannes going off in in the Ford Mondeo, the Robertson driven Ford Mondeo. So we can see Philippe Martinelli has joined us, which is nice to see that the second Audi will be in the race, at least for the first race. Don't know if Philippe will be able to partake in both races, but hopefully he will. Peter Lavak has also joined us a little bit late, but I believe he should have time to set at least one lap. And it's still Peter Blom on pole position. I wonder if anyone... Jan Titz is still out on track, so let's ride on board with him as he heads around to try and finish his lap, to see if he can snatch pole position away from Blom, who he runs wide coming through Druids. I don't think he'll be able to do it now. But we'll know in just a little bit. So let's see. There's unfortunately not an improvement. Let's see if anyone else is out on track. Doesn't look like it, so that means that Peter Blom has taken another pole position by 0.3 of a second this time, and in the Privateer class, David Sabras managed to pip Dylan Canton on to pole position, and Dave Simmons has also gone faster than Dylan. My apologies. So while we have warm-up going, I'll just take a quick break to go and get something to drink so that I can help my throat to survive just a little bit. So I'll leave you with a little bit of music, and when we come back we'll have a bit of a thought about what could happen in the race, and then go into the race itself. And welcome back, or I'm back, whatever you would prefer me to say, but we are back here at Oulton Park and the Foster's layout, as we are going to try and find someone to ride on board with. Let's ride on board with one of the BMWs, I think. So looking at the qualifying times, it's hard to see Peter Blom not winning the race, but Jonatan is sitting in second place, and he has had some demon starts along the season, so if he gets up in front it'll be very difficult for anyone to pass him, as we've seen on several occasions, and that should prove an interesting situation if it were to occur. It'll also be interesting to see what the Nissan fellas can do in the form of Weber and team. I believe they will be fairly quick in race trim, especially the second half of the race, when some of the faster guys or faster cars may have burnt up their tires a bit more than the Nissans would. And it'll also be pretty interesting, I think, to see the Privateer Cup take form, because if I'm not entirely mistaken, if Dave Simmons, since I believe there's only 2 rounds left after this race, though I could, or this event, though I could be mistaken, it could be that Dave Simmons, if he wins, claims the Total Cup title. As we can see, a bit of trouble getting into the pits. And that was Peter Lavach having that trouble. And here we have Oliver Thiem out on track, getting familiar with this race setup after the, I believe, 10 minutes qualifying session that we just saw. Although it isn't that much fuel to get around the, I believe it's around 22 laps. Sorry, 27 laps for the race this evening. It's still a little bit of extra weight in the car, and getting familiar with your car with fuel in it is obviously essential. Which is one of the other interesting things to see, since there are quite a bit of elevation changes at the Oulton Park circuit. The cars that can use a little bit less fuel to finish the race, and those that has better suspension will probably prevail a bit more than those with a lot of power but lesser handling, especially then in the form of the suspension settings, and maybe also the drive settings in general, since you with some setup changes can make the cars have less wheel spin. Although most of the work, of course, will be needed to be done by the drivers themselves. But as we can see, it's about a minute a lap to go around this circuit, even in race trim, so It'll be a fairly quick couple of races because of that. As we saw Matthew Huldy just nudging the grass a little bit on the entry to Lodge, and that, by the looks of things, forced him to go a bit deep and off the circuit on the exit. Always runs deep at Old Hall as well. Down the avenue and Dentons, and here's Cascades yet again, and into Foster's. And as we can see, there's a bit of an anti-cut like curb on the inside of Foster's, so you will need to be a little bit careful, especially when trying to pass someone, so that you don't take too much of the inside of the turn and hit that curb and get bounced into the guy you're trying to pass. Again, we could see him on the grass, but this time, same trouble this time as well. Hopefully he'll have a little bit of a better time in the other races, or in the races I should say. It looks like everyone, so we are jumping into the race right here. My apologies for bumping the mic then. As the formation lap gets underway, we'll quickly go through the grid. So we have Peter Blom on the pole, followed by Jan Tits. Miroslav Havlik gets a surprising third. I didn't expect him to get quite that far up, but clearly he's put in a lot of practice. Richard Coxon 4th with Matthias Weber 5th. Richard Wilkes 6th with Juha Bohr 7th. Oliver Thiem 8th. Ridal 9th, and David Saber rounding out the top 10. As he gives Ridal a little bit of a bump going into Foster's. And also David Saber has the pole in the Privateer class. Nikos Tyrkopoulos gets 11th with Dave Simmons 12th. Dylan Canton 13th. Frank Deschaven 14th. 15th for Matthew Hull. 16th for Jason White, I believe. Yep. Hansa Mild got 17th. 18th for Ivan Andersen. 19th for Mick Chapman. 20th for Peter Lavac. 21st for Javier Perez Mato. 22nd for Flip Martinelli, and a late arrival in Simon Watman rounds out the grid in 23rd. Fitting considering his car has the number 23 on it. But let's jump on board with Peter Blom as we look for the lights to be turned on in maybe 15 seconds time or so, to set a grid on their way. There should be a stonker of a race. See, revs are up, lights are on, 3 lights, 4 lights, and it's green and the race is underway. So let's see, a lot of smoke, but it's clear that Jan Tits has taken the lead. As Peter Blom runs wide, several others runs wide, and Simon Watman has had a spin. Tyrkopoulos, I believe that is off the track. It looks like everyone more or less survived lap 1. As we can see, Miroslav Havlik having to shortcut the track quite a lot actually. 4 wide coming out of Foster's there. Dear me, there's a lot going on right here. Let's see. Oh, the two Honda guys bumping door handles there. And a lot of action. Oh, I believe there's some more coming through here. Looked like there were potential for 3 wide. It looks like they are behaving themselves actually. And we can see Peter Blom going for third, trying to get past Miroslav Havlik, and it looks like he's done so at Lodge. So Jan Tits, Richard Coxon, Blom, Havlik, Wilkes, Weber and team in either or there. I believe that was David Saber running wide. But Jan Tits has a fairly comfortable lead by the looks of things, with Coxon second. And everyone else streaming through. You can see Simon Watman, I believe that is Perez Mato, struggling just a little bit at the moment, but I'm sure they will find a pace eventually. And Jan Tits storms through Lodge, full power on with his 4-wheel drive, keeping him very steady and very safe to remain on the grey stuff. Oh, as we can see, a bit of a moment for Philippe Martinelli. I think he had a nudge with Jason White, that would have been. Oh, as we can see, I believe that is Mick Chapman, because we have Hansa Mill right behind us on 2 wheels going through Fosters. Oh, yeah, I believe Jason White was a bit out of shape there, but he stayed on the track. Oh, and up ahead we can see a bit of action as well. Looks like Matthew Hull, and that would be Peter Lavach and Dylan Canton going at it. This is a circuit that allows for a lot of oh, that's a nudge through Brooklands from Canton on Matthew Hull. Thankfully Hull was able to hold on to it and Canton backed out. Whereas Martinelli actually lifted just a little bit, going up into Druids. Where Slavach got sideways. Clearly he hasn't quite got the BMW to handle. As Canton runs deep, I believe this is Philippe Martinelli's chance to get by. May be able to do so at Old Hall, if he's able to outbrake Canton there. He isn't. Let's have a quick look like this, so that you can see where your favorite drivers are after 4 completed laps. It was actually David Saber who dropped back, so that means that, if I'm not mistaken, Dave Sim. Oh, that's Frank de Chaven, I think. No, it's actually Juha. So what has happened to him? Oh, he lost his wing very early. Let's see if we can quickly go back and see if we can find out when that happened. Doesn't look like it, but no rear wing it is. Actually, even Anderson is ahead of all of them. And there's Dave Simmons, so you have both dropped back just a little bit. My apologies. I believe Dave Simmons is leading. Oh, he runs deep, runs wide, allowing Nikos Diakopoulos to have a look. But he decides to back out. Frank Deschaven having a good race right at the moment here, sitting in just outside the top 10, which is nice to see. A bit further up we can see that Jan Titz is still in the lead. Peter Blom has caught up to Richard Coxon and is challenging him for second. Coxon runs a little bit deep, going through Lodge, up past Deer Leap and going into Old Hall. Coxon is forced to be going defensive here. Let's see if he runs deep. He doesn't. He holds the apex in the middle of the road on the exit. And that stops any chance for Blom to go past. And then it looks like it's more or less status quo in the top 10. This indeed. As we get a real close-up of that Honda Accord of Peter Blom, who is looking left, right and center for a way to get by Richard Coxon, but I know for a fact that he won't nudge Coxon out of the way. He will look for a clean way to pass as he goes towards the outside, as he hopes that Coxon runs deep, but he doesn't. He stays on the grey stuff very gracefully there, and all this is allowing Jan Titz to pull away, whereas Blom has a little bit of a look up the inside. Coxon takes just a bit of a wider line to be able to give room to Blom if he were to put his nose up the inside. There he heads up driving from both of them, whereas Coxon runs wide, coming through Foster's. That destroys his run, going through Brooklands as well. Up over Clay Hill and into Druids. Old Blom had a big look, but wasn't able to make use of that. As he again shows himself in the inside mirror of Richard Coxon, trying to unnerve his opponent here, whereas he runs a little bit wide, going through out the Lodge. It definitely looks like Peter is just a little bit quicker than Richard, but Richard is entitled to take his lines and defend as best he can, as long as he does it fairly, and so far I haven't seen anything untowards. Only good, fair racing so far. Let's have a look at this little battle here between Wilkes, Havlik and Weber. It looks to be more or less status quo, but Havlik looks to be just a little bit slower than the guys behind him. As we can see up ahead, Blom is up the inside at Lodge, trying to pull a menu on Coxon in the Renault. He still has to overlap into Old Hall. I believe he'll take the position here unless Richard can hold on around outside. Oh, great defensive work. He holds it around outside as they are still too wide. Coxon holds on to the position and stays in second. Nice racing, guys. Great job. Wow. Really nice job from both of them, as Richard Wilkes also almost gives Havlik a little bit of a nudge, and this gives Weber just the tiniest bit of a chance as he runs deep. Let's see, that is Frank Deschaven who's gotten by Dave Simmons, so Deschaven is now up into the top 10. That's a good, nice race for him so far. Unfortunately, it looks like Jason White and Simon Watman is out of this race, as again Coxon and Blom is too wide coming down the front stretch. This time Blom breaks very late into Old Hall, but Coxon does the over-under and has the overlap going into Denton's, and he holds on to it. As Blom runs very deep into Cascades, he holds it on the tarmac though. This is some good racing here for second place. I do apologize to the other guys in the race who's surely having as good a race as these guys, but this could have championship implications, as this is first and second in the championship fighting for second here. Was I believe Richard Wilkes is up the inside. Oh, there's contact! Don't think Havlik saw him. Oh, that's a big hit into the wall, unfortunately. Hopefully he hasn't picked up any major damage from that. That was very unfortunate. Let's see if we can see that on the replay. Richard Wilkes looks up the inside. Brakes very late, but I believe Richard Wilkes would have been able to hold it on the curb on the inside there, so that's just a case of I believe Havlik not quite knowing that Wilkes was looking up the inside there. Was just behind. Vidal was looking up the inside of Oliver Thiem, who himself is trying to see if he can find a way past Havlik, who is running just a little bit wounded, I believe. Doesn't seem to be any major damage, but some damage will clearly have been made with the contact with the wall. As Thiem has to defend, maybe. No, he has enough speed down the front stretch to hold on. You can see several guys running just a little bit wide coming out of Old Hall. Whereas, talking about running wide, Richard Wilkes ran wide going through Foster's. Now they are side by side. Looks like Weber will take the position here if he can get a run out of Lodge. He doesn't quite get it. They are still side by side going down the front straight, and there we can see that Wilkes got way better of a run going through Lodge. Whereas Weber runs wide going through Old Hall. Just a little bit of a nudge telling Wilkes that he's still there. We can see on the run here that the Nissan is lacking just a little bit of a few ponies, and we can see, I believe that was a Ford bumper laying on the road there, but we can see through Druids that the Nissan is very fast. Let's see if he's brave enough to send it up the inside here. It isn't quite close enough. Weber is also a very sensible driver who won't try anything unless he thinks he may be able to pull it off. As it's still status quo for second, but Coxon is still getting hounded by Peter Blom. But it looks like both of them are actually closing in just a little bit on Jan Tits at the moment. Though it could just be the illusion of Foster's. As we can see that there's some lap traffic up ahead, as Blom has a look up the inside at Lodge, but Coxon brakes late and defends his position yet again. Blom has a good run coming out the Lodge though, and is looking up the inside down the front stretch. We've seen Coxon hold on before going around the outside here. Oh, just the tiniest bit of an overlap, but Coxon was able to brake late enough to slot in just in front. There couldn't have been more than a few millimeters between the bumpers. I see, it looks like it was Juha Bose's front bumper then that was laying on the track on the entry to Druids, whereas Deschaven has a good run through Fosters but isn't quite able to use it, trying to pass Tychopoulos. Let's see, looks like there's no... well, there is a bit of a privateer battle right here between Ivan Andersen and Hansa Mild. Other than that, there's Matthew Hull, I believe, at least, number 1, yeah. My apologies, still haven't quite memorized everyone's numbers, and it looks like Lavac and Juha Bose is in a battle, and they are battling in front of the leading group as Coxon puts his lights on to tell the guys that he's coming and wanting to go through. But Jan Tits leads as he enters lap 17, so with 10 laps to go he's still in the lead. You can have a quick look yet again on the standings so that you can find your favorite drivers for the moment. And it's still only and only, but it's Jason White and Simon Watman's out of the race, but no further retirements since last time, which is nice to see. And as we can see right behind here for second, it's still very, very close. As Blum, he's actually having a look, going over the curbs and everything. Looking for a very wide entry going through Druids, looking, just about not quite being able to get there. As looks up the outside, don't touch the grass though. Looks like he was able to hold on. And back in fourth, it's still Richard Wilkes, followed by Matthias Weber very closely behind. Pavlik 7th, 8th and 9th here, I believe. And then it's a big group of cars of Tychopoulos, Simmons, Deschaven and Saber. I believe Peter Lavac is also involved in that. Let's go back for the battle for second here. As we again get a very, very nice close-up of Peter Blum's bonnet on his Honda. How close do you want it? I think it's even pushing Richard Coxon down the track right here. Well, Coxon, I believe, ran just a little bit wide. Escorted Blum with him. I wonder if Blum may have a look here. He does. Looks up the inside. Coxon brakes very late though. Maybe just a little bit of little nudge there, but both of them get through unscathed. Looking very close indeed. Going down Cascades into Fosters. Coxon's rear end moving around just a little bit. Looking a little bit loose. As we can see, he's using a bit more track than Blum is. I believe Coxon has used up his tires here. And that is why Peter Blum is a lot quicker now. And as we can see, Jan Tits hasn't pulled that big of a gap, but he may just be spending his time. As Blum locks up the inside, brakes very late. But Coxon then again does the switcheroo and retains his second place. Great racing between these two. Really, really fun to watch as well. It looks like it's especially coming out of Fosters and going through Brooklands that's where Blum has a bit more speed, though Coxon looks to have had a good run this time around. So let's look back a little bit. I wonder, Matthias Weber has gone, so he is running into some kind of issue. So it's still Wilkes 4th, but now it's Havlik 5th with Oliver Thiem in a close 6th and... no, sorry, it's still... My apologies, I'm getting a bit excited over nothing. It is as it has been almost. Matthias Weber has run into a little bit of issue because Havlik has gotten by, but other than that it's more or less as it were when we looked back just a little bit earlier. But Ray Ridal has been able to pass Oliver Thiem for, I believe, 7th. So Thiem has slipped down to 8th. 9th now is Nikos Taiakopoulos doing a good job in the Volvo. And Dave Simmons is still holding on to a top 10 finish, and he now has David Saber right behind him, with Deschaven following right behind him. So this could be a nice little battle to follow for a lap or maybe two. So you can see the BMW getting out very sportingly out of the way there. Good job. Not impeding the guys on the lead lap at all. It should be noted that Simmons and Saber are driving more or less equal cars. They are the same make and model. There's only some minor differences, as I believe Deschaven is looking up the inside here. He is indeed, and he's gotten by. Seemed like a nice regulation pass there. See if we can see that on this replay. He clearly makes a state that he's looking up the inside, and David Saber locked up just a little bit and ran deep, and that's all it takes for Deschaven to go by. Peter Blum has actually gotten by Richard Coxon here. Let's see if we can find out where that happened. Looks like it was... Yep, it is another one of those where Peter Blum either made Coxon defend into Lodge, or Coxon outdid himself and Blum got by at Old Hall. So let's see if he can now pull away and catch Jan Tits, or if Coxon may be able to hook onto his rear bumper and make use of Blum and Tits maybe battling in a few laps time, if they are able to catch him. I believe Coxon would dearly like to finish ahead of Peter Blum to reduce his points lead, if only by a few points. As Blum locked up just a little bit going into Lodge, but Blum gets a good run coming out of there, so he clearly knows how to get the car going. Both of them runs very wide. That's not quite correct, is it? Either way, that's up for the stew. As Blum has made a mistake, he went on the grass braking for Foster's, and Coxon was looking up the inside, and through Brooklands he goes up back into second position. Nice opportunistic driving from him there. Let's see, wonder if he will be able to hold on. Looking at the pace that Blum has had in the recent laps, I don't think so, but you never know. Wilkes still in 4th, Havlik 5th, Weber 6th, dropping back just a little bit. Thiem is back up into 7th. So Ray Ridal will probably have made some kind of small mistake, and that has allowed Thiem back up. So 8th for Ray Ridal, 9th for Nikos Taiakopoulos, and still 10th is Dave Simmons, although he's running wide going through Druids, and Deschaven will try to go through, and I believe Saber will try to follow Deschaven through. He does indeed. Some close racing. Simmons and Deschaven is still side by side. Deschaven has the inside going through into Old Hole, so I believe he'll take the position here. Simmons may try to do the cutback. And he does have an overlap going into Denton's, down through Cascades. And he thinks better of it and decides that discretion is the better part of valor and defends his first position in the total cup race. So some nice, good racing there as well. It looks like it's still only White and White and Watman out of the race. My apologies, I've been working overtime for the whole week, so I'm forgetting the names a bit more than I should. And the battle for second is still on here. Coxon is holding on bravely, doing all he can to retain his second position and close in the championship race as he goes down to the white line to defend. As he almost parks the bus on the apex at Lodge and holds Blom behind him. Blom looks around outside, probably looking for the cutback here. My apologies, the race is already over. So Jan Tits has taken the win. Coxon retains second with Blom third. Wilkes gets fourth, Havlik fifth, Weber sixth. Team gets 7th with Raymond Ridal 8th. 9th for Nikos Taikopoulos. 10th for Frank Deschaven, a good debut for him, scoring points in his opening race. 11th and win in the privateer class for Dave Simmons. 2nd in privateer class and 12th for David Saber. 13th overall for Hansa Mild. 15th for Peter Lavac. 16th for Dylan Canton. 17th for Philippe Martinelli. 18th for Eivind Andersen. 19th for Matthew Hull. 20th for Mick Chapman. 21st for Juha Bors. 22nd for Perez Mato. And then we had Jason White and Sim Watman as retirees. So after race 1 we've seen that Jan Tits took the win, which we congratulate him for, and in the privateer class Dave Simmons took the win. So with that we'll take a small quick break, and when we come back we'll see if we have anyone to talk to, if maybe Peter Blom or anyone else would like to join us between the races, and look forward to the second qualifying and race of the evening. So talk to you all in a bit. Hello and welcome back to the historic Simracing organization, round 10 of the BTCC 1996 championship. Coming tonight from Oulton Park, the Foster's layout, where we had a stonker of a first race with some great battling, especially for second place between Richard Coxon and Peter Blom, two of the championship hopefuls. And Richard Coxon came out ahead after a small mistake from Peter Blom on the second to last lap, but quietly Jan Tits romped away with a win from lights to flag, more or less, as he took the lead going off the start line and did a good job to stay there. And we also saw Dave Simmons take the Privateer Cup win, which was pretty impressive since it looked like he had some close battles with David Sabre and before that Øyvind Andersen. It was also good fun to see both the Nissens of Matthias Weber and Oliver Thiem scoring top 10s and being in with a shot at even a podium early on in the race, but unfortunately for them, the podium runners ran away just a little bit too fast, but 6th and 7th for the two Nissen boys. I think they will be fairly happy with that. It was also good to see that we had relatively few retirees in the first race, with two of them, which I would consider only, considering we've had around between 4 and 6 in most of the rounds so far. Looks like we are indeed ready to head into qualifying 2 of the evening. It'll be interesting here to see if Peter Blom can get another pole position or if it will be snatched away from him by any of the other drivers. Most likely would probably be Richard Coxon or Jan Tits, but we'll know in about 10 minutes time what it'll be. As we can see all the cars waiting for the green light in the pits, telling them that it's okay to enter the track. See Miroslav Havlik, and here comes Oliver Thiem, followed by one of the BMWs. Looks like he pulls off, so Philippe Martinelli heads out. Mick Chapman is considering heading out, but here comes Jan Tits. And it's Mick Chapman. Here comes Peter Lavac. You can see a few guys waiting for a bit of less traffic around the track. And I'm just waiting for first car to come across. It looks like it's one of the Hondas. See, number 11 I think, so that would be Richard Wilkes. It wasn't. Okay, that was number 12 in the form of Peter Blom. There we go. From what we've been able to see from this lap, it's looking pretty good. See a 59.8, that's definitely a very good time for an opening lap, as he runs it wide through Old Hole. Looks like he has backed off. He doesn't want to take advantage of running wide, so he pulls off. But he's still currently fastest, but Coxon is still out here trying to set another lap. It's definitely looked like another quick lap. He is quicker, but still not quite quick enough. I see 2 runs wide through Old Hall, but not quite as wide as Peter Blom, so it may be okay. It looks like he's pressing on at least. Oh, as we can see, Dylan Canton losing it in going into Foster's and hitting the tire stack on inside there. I also saw that the reason that Juha Boos lost his rear wing in race 1 was big crash of one of the Mint Motorsport guys. The reason for his lost wing was that he got hit going into Foster's on lap 1 in that race, and unfortunately that dislodged his wing. Which is unfortunate considering he had some good pace. Let's see, Peter Blom is still in pole position. Third at the moment is Richard Wilkes. Fourth, Jan Tits. Fifth for Miroslav Havlik, so he's definitely having a very good evening here. Sixth for Matthias Weber. Seventh for Nikos Taikopoulos, I'd assume this is. No, it's actually Jason White, so he is set a blistering lap here. Eighth currently for Raymond Riddell. Ninth for Peter Lavac, and currently 10th is Juha Boos. And currently on pole in the Privateer class looks to be David Saber once again. It is indeed. So really nice job from him. And just to have a quick look on the grid overall, so that you can see how your favorite drivers are doing at the moment. My apologies, it's 15 minutes of qualifying, not 10. Let's ride on board for a lap with Eivind Andersen and see how he's getting on. As you could see there, the transition from Cascades to Fosters is quite difficult at times. Was one of the BMWs. I'm not sure if that was Lavach or even takes a lot of the inside at Cascades. It was it was Perez Mato or if it was Lavach. We can see here that Miroslav Havlik is currently in second position, so he's steadily improving his qualifying time. If he gets the pole position, that'll probably be the surprise of at least of the qualifying season. As he runs deep, going through Druids. This is a fantastic camera for seeing the elevation changes, wouldn't you say? This looks great to ride on board with, I must say. Let's see, looks like it's still Peter Blom in pole position. Cox in third, Matthias Weber has gotten up to fourth in the Nissan. Otherwise, it looks like it's more or less the same suspects at most of the races in the top 10. Ooh, that looked a bit dodgy down the back. Looked like one of the BMWs was stopping him. Matthew Hull had to take avoiding action to not hit him up the rear. let's ride on board with Jonathan's Audi for a lap. Listen to this Audi engine working away. Bit of a lock up into launch, but otherwise that looked like a fast lap. Let's see if he's been able to improve. Still in 5th. Well, still I say, but he has improved, as Matthias Weber has also improved in the Nissan, getting up to 3rd. Let's give Frank de Chavannes a bit of screen time as well. And it also gives us a chance to listen again to this wonderfully sounding Ford V6. I must say that I feel that the drivers are being a bit liberal with the track limits at Old Hall, but several drivers are doing it, but that shouldn't be a it's okay, I'm allowed to do it as well situation just because you see someone else doing it, but definitely looking a little bit off. It looks like Dylan Canton has yapped into pole. No, sorry. David Sable will still be a bit further up, still, I believe. I think we are closing in on the end of qualifying. Richard Coxon has one more lap to drive. Jan Titz is on his final lap as well, currently in 2nd, so he's jumped up. Blum will not have a chance to improve, so let's look at Jan Titz going around again, see if he is able to improve this time around to take pole position away from Peter. Okay, so he pulls off. Let's see. I know Richard Coxon was on the lap and he is going to try and finish it, so let's see what he can do. He may... Oh, it's actually... Wow! Jan Titz and Richard Coxon actually has the same time, but Jan Titz is scored ahead. That's how close it is here. That's amazing. That's that's really amazing. Let's see if there's anyone else out on track. I don't believe so. No, okay. So Peter Blum takes the pole position yet again, with David Saber taking pole position in the privateer class. So again, I believe we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get ready for race 2 of the evening. So hold tight and we'll be right back. Okay, so with a few seconds left in this warm-up session, we will be heading into the race soon, but yet again, it'll be difficult to not consider either Blom, Tits or Coxon to take the win, although for the first race I thought only Blom or Tits could take it, but I do believe that Coxon can take it as well. He was keeping up very neatly, and he usually is a little bit quicker in the second races. And as I noticed, as some people wrote, Miroslav Havlik has been on fire.
Attention grid, all non-essential personnel.
Quite a bit, so would not be too surprising if he's able to do a good job as well. We'll know in a bit of time. But let's see, to go through the grid, so we just wait for the formation lap to get underway. And there we are. So on pole position yet again is Peter Blom, and he's followed by Jan Tits, just as in race 1, starting on the outside of him. Third for Coxon, fourth for Miroslav Havlik, fifth for Matthias Weber and sixth for Ray Riddell, seventh for Richard Wilkes and eighth for Nikos Taikopoulos, ninth for Oliver Thiem, and 10th and pole in Privatec class for David Saber, yet another pole position for him in the Total Cup. 11th for Juha Bors and 12th for Jason White, big improvement compared to qualifying 1. Let's see, 13th for Frank de Chavannes and 14th for Dave Simmons. 15th is Peter Lavach with 15th. Clearly I'm tired, my apologies. 16th for Hansa Mill, 17th for Dylan Canton, 18th for Martinelli, 19th for Matthew Hull. Mick Chapman rounds out the top 20 with David Anderson 21st, Perez Mato 22nd and Simon Gottman 23rd, rounding out the grid. So again on the start-finish straight, just waiting for the lights to be turned on and for the race to get underway. So we can hear the revs rising just a little bit. And if race 2 will be as race 1, there will be a lot of action, a lot of fun as the lights is on. 4 red lights. And it's green and the race is underway. Looks like Jan Tits has had another good start. Peter Blom has had a bad one. Tits rumps away in the lead. A lot of guys taking the inside. As one of the Fords is off. He has been able to avoid the wall though, which is good to see. Looks like I believe that was one of the BMW spinning. When another spinner, one of the Privateer Fords and Philippe Martinelli and Dylan Canton is involved. And I believe that was Peter Lavach who span going down cascades. And all of them is able to get going once again. But it's Tits in the lead. Blom second, Coxon third, Lavach fourth and Riddell fifth. As Matthew Hull looks up the inside right there. Let's go back and see if he's able to pull it off. He is indeed, so he's gotten by Frank de Chavannes. A nice opportunistic pass at Lodge. Once there's a lot of non-track being used once again. It looks like Blom is has hold on to second and been able to defend from Richard Coxon, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to catch up with Jan Tits in this race and give him a run for his money this time. We can see just behind that a battle for third is on between Coxon, Havlik and Riddle. And the 406 going a lot better around here than it has done during the whole season, which is great to see. Was he breaks very late into Old Hole, almost thought he'd hit the rear end of Coxon, but he was able to avoid doing so. And I believe Richard Wilkes ran wide in the back, in a battle for 7th, 8th and 9th or thereabout. Oh, but here we are. Battle for first is about to commence. As Jan Tits is forced to go defensive going into Old Hall. Blom is trying to do the cutback, but I don't think he was able to do so. So we can do it like this, and we can see all the drivers going past. You can find your favorite drivers as they stream past. Jan Tits is definitely under pressure here, having to go defensive, heading down to Lodge. And he parks his car on the apex of the turn and holds Blom behind him. Looks like Vidal in the background has lost a little bit of time and is being attacked, is being under pressure by Matthias Weber. It looks to be about the same in this race. Blom looks like he has a pretty good Foster's run, and then is quicker down this straight. Up past Clay Hill as Blom looks up the inside, just about not being an overlap there for Blom. Looks like this could turn into a big snake of a fight if this keeps on going. Because here comes Coxon right up behind Peter Blom now. Was Blom ran just a little bit wide going through Brooklands, up over Clay Hill, down into Druids. Tits takes, I think there were even a small little nudge there. Nothing untoward, just one of those, I'm still here, don't forget about me. I'm fairly sure Tits definitely won't be forgetting that he has a few drivers behind, and he dearly would like to be a bit quicker here, but he'll have to defend as best he can. And this is now a three-way duel for the lead, with Havlik keeping a watching eye. I thought Coxon nudged the grass, braking for Foster's then, but that wasn't the case, and Havlik has closed in, going through there. Looks like this will be a four-way duel in half a lap to a lap's time. Whereas Tits runs very deep in Druids, but Blom runs a bit wide as well. But he has an overlap around outside here. Whereas Coxon looks up the inside of Blom on the exit. And he has an overlap. I wonder if he'll be able to take the position. I believe Blom should be able to hold it. He does. Does he run deep though? He does. He runs very, very wide. As Coxon has a bit of a look down at Cascades. That's not the place to pass. Whereas Havlik almost gives Coxon a bit of a nudge. He was able to avoid doing that. As there's a bit of a status quo at the moment, with at least half a lap to go for that battle. The battle between Weber and Ridol is still on, and Nikos Diakopoulos is trying to buy into this as well. What's up ahead? There's a lot of defensive driving from Jan Tits. There comes Diakopoulos up the inside of Matthias Weber, or at least looking, trying. What he isn't able to do to get by. Wilkes has dropped back a little bit. And team is in a battle with David Saber for, I believe, 9th and 10th. It is indeed. Dave Simmons not far behind. Oh, a lot of sideways moment. Oh, a bit of a concertina effect. Everyone hitting each other. Coxon is looking up the inside of Blom. Going through Brooklands. A little bit of a nudge, but nothing untowards. I believe that the battle there is still going on. I'm just going to stay here for a moment so that we get to see most of the runners. Here comes Matthew Hull with Eivind Andersen behind him and Hansa Mild. Jason White has dropped back just a little bit. There's Peter Lavac, Philip Martinelli, Canton, I believe Watman, and Mick Chapman. So Mick is struggling a little bit here tonight. Coxon is trying to get a run coming out of Foster's, but Blom blocks him off. I wonder if Coxon wouldn't be better off to let Blom try to have a look at Tits once again and make use of that, but on the other hand he has Havlik right behind him, so can't be too cautious. As Jan Tits got a bit sideways, turning into Lodge. But his four-wheel drive helping him, and I noticed one of the Fords is out. Not entirely sure which of them, but they were sitting in the pits there. We'll check in a couple of laps time when we have another check at the field. Because this battle is far from resolved and I wouldn't like to get away from it unless there's gaps once again. It almost feels like Havlik is overdriving the Peugeot just a little bit at the moment. He dropped a second and a half in the last lap. Let's see if he can find a pace to catch up once again. As Tits takes the middle of the road route down into Lodge. Yes. As Havlik runs very wide that time around, didn't gain anything by the looks of things, so all good. West Hits goes very defensive going into Foster's, but holds on to the position for the time being. Coxon had to take avoiding action to not hit Blom up the rear. West Blom now has the cutback, I think. At least he should have. Not quite, it doesn't have an overlap here. Tits takes the defensive line and Coxon looks up the inside. A little bit of door rubbing, but OS Blom is running wide, as did Havlik behind him. Looked like a late but completely fair move there, so nothing to complain about for Peter Blom, but Coxon was very opportunistic indeed when the opening showed itself. Let's see if he will now be able to get by Jan Tits, since there's a little bit of a respite in the battle here. Let's have another look at the field, other parts of the field. Weber is now up to 5th, with Vidal 6th, Wilkes 7th, Oliver Team up to 8th. As I have missed it, but I hope you've been able to see it on the small screen, that there's been a change of position between Blom and Coxon, when I believe there were contact between Tits and Blom, but both of them stay as they were, so all is good. I'll just quickly scroll down so that you can see the rest of the field. And it's Deschaven and Perez Matos who is out of the race, unfortunately. Let's get back to the action full stock, where Blom is looking again for a move on Tits, but Tits drives a very good defensive line going into Foster's, as Coxon looks up the inside just a tiny bit, going through Brooklands up over Clay Hill. And again Havlik is right behind them, looking for any spills that may fall off the table. Also we can see Ray Redal spinning in the background. Whatever happened there? Let's see if we can find out what happened. Oh, he locks up and he hits the grass and ends up on the tarmac with his front wheels. Tries to hold it, but he isn't able to do so. Oh, Oliver Team got very close to hitting him there. Good awareness to be able to keep to the inside and avoid contact. Good job by Oliver there. Oh, as we can see, Matthias Weber running wide. But up ahead here, it looked like Blom and Coxon was at it again. This is actually the almost top 3, but 3 of the top 4 in the championship battling right here, with Tits, Blom and Coxon, with Havlik sitting a bit further down the championship field. I believe he's 13th or 14th overall. He runs very wide yet again, does Havlik. Looks like Havlik's tires may be giving up just a little bit. He's using a lot of road and a bit more besides the road to try and keep up. Since there is a bit of a gap once again between the guys, let's look a bit further down. Ray Ridal has gotten by Dave Simmons. And it looks like David Saber has gotten by Nikos Tykopoulos. I believe they are in 7th and 8th. And then it's 9th and 10th here. And then it's Juha Boos hanging on to 11th, again without a rear wing. Looks like he has a proficiency tonight to lose his rear wing. And Oliver Thiem has dropped back because he is behind Juha Boos here. That's surprising. I wonder what's happened to Oliver. And here's a privateer battle between Anderson and Mild for 3rd in the total cup. And we can see behind them Jason White and Matthew Hull having a bit of a run at it as well. I wouldn't be surprised if they've been battling a little bit earlier on in the race. And I believe Hans has a run here, he has indeed. Looks up the outside at Denton's. He doesn't go for it down Cascades, he thinks better of it. And looks like he's trying to have a run out of Foster's instead, but he doesn't look to be able to do it. But it's still Tits in the lead up here at the front of the field. But Blom is in close contention, and I believe Blom will have a run on Tits here. Oh, he's up, he has a good overlap, going down Cascades. Is able to stay on the track, he is. And here comes Coxon up the inside of Tits as well, gives him a bit of a nudge in the side. And here comes Tits looking up the inside into Brooklands, isn't able to get up there. Let's see if he's able to have a run at it. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if Blom is able to run away here, unless Tits gets by right down here. As Coxon looks up the inside of Tits instead, again a little bit of contact. And Coxon is by Tits as well. Wastes no time trying to keep up with Peter Blom and a chance at the championship. And here comes, I thought Havlik would have a go at Jan Tits there, but Tits broke very late as well. I wonder what that light flashing is about. As Havlik is up on 2 wheels, he was able to avoid flipping over, but that loses him a lot of time, and I believe it may have lost him place as well. It does, because here comes Weber. So Weber goes up to 4th, and unfortunately for Havlik, he slips back to 5th. It looks like Tits is dropping back from Coxon and Blom. So it looks like it'll now become a 2-horse race for the win here between Blom and Coxon, but may also be that Blom runs away with it, but we'll see as the race goes on, as we have 7 laps to go at the end of this lap. We'll see what's going on otherwise in the field, since there's a bit of a time to do so. Thiem and Saber is still at it. Oh, sorry, Tykopoulos and Thiem is still at it. No, sorry, Saber and Tykopoulos. Wow. And Ray Ridal has dropped back just a little bit yet again. No, sorry, he's in the same place. I thought he had dropped back just a little bit more. Dave Simmons is still in the top 10, and in second. I think that may be enough to clinch the total cup, but don't quote me on that. I look at that after the race. But Thiem and Boos is still going at it. As by the looks of things is Anderson and Mild. And Jason White is doing his best to catch up to those two and get into the middle of it. And here is Lavach as Camden runs wide into the wall hard. That's very unfortunate. Let's see if we can find out what happened. Looking from Flip Martinelli's view, Camden just enters the turn a bit too fast, and that's all she wrote for that. It looks like, is Camden off again? Oh, he is. Whatever has happened here? Oh, he did indeed pick up a puncture, unfortunately. I wonder, no, he isn't able to get out, so unfortunately Dylan Camden is out of the race, as is Matthew Hull, so he has retired. Yeah, just a lap or so ago. But Peter Blom has now a comparatively speaking big lead to Jan Titz, who's ahead of Richard Coxon. Coxon has run out into trouble somewhere. Weber in 4th with Havlik still in 5th, with Wilkes closing in, running 6th. 7th for David Saber, who's still under attack from Nikos Tayakopoulos. And Ray Redal also closing up to this battle. As Tayakopoulos is trying to have a run, or really close to contact, as Tayakopoulos slots back in behind Saber there. You can see that Tayakopoulos has just a little bit of damage on the front left of his car. Doesn't look to be slowing him down by much though. As here he comes up the inside. Outbreaks Saber. Saber tries to do the undercut, gives Tayakopoulos a little bit of a nudge and drops back behind. So nice clean pass by Tayakopoulos there. Good job by him, and now Ray will be trying to do the same. If he gets the chance, that is. Oh, he brakes very late going into fastest. And runs wide coming out, unfortunately for him. But Oliver Thiem has been able to get by Juha Boos. And Anderson and Mild is still going at it. As is... Oh, White has actually dropped back just a little bit, so White is now in a battle with Lavach and Martinelli, so they will surely be enjoying themselves. Mick Chapman unfortunately doesn't look like he'll be enjoying himself quite as much. He has now picked up some damage to the front left of his car, and also last running, but Peter Blom is still in the lead with 2.5 laps or so to go. Coxon is by the looks of things, secure second now. He's gotten by Jan Titz once again. It will be interesting to see if Matthias Weber will be able to close into Jan Titz and take third, or if Richard Wilkes will be able to get by both Weber and Titz, as he's gotten by Havlik while we were looking a bit further down the grid. Would be a big feather in their cap if the Nissan boys can score a podium, but for now it doesn't look like Weber is able to close in on his German compatriot. It does seem like Wilkes is closing in ever so. Ooh, as Havlik has a look going into Lodge. I think he also nudged Wilkes just a little bit. And here is Nikos Tsikopoulos still ahead of David Saber after he passed him in this turn a couple of laps ago. Larry Dulles has still not found his way by. And Simmons is still insane in the privateer class, and Oliver Team is in 11th. Juha Boos is still doing his best without a rear wing to stay in the race and get further up the grid if possible. A privateer battle between Anderson and Mild still ongoing here. And Philippe Martinelli has triumphed in the freeway duel with Lavach and White. Oh, White has a lot of damage to his car now. Wow, I wonder if he lost it going down cascades or something, because that's a lot of damage to pick up. As it looks like, that's my bad, it was 1.5 laps to go, so the race is finished. My apologies for not keeping track of that once again, but Peter Blom picks up the win. I think he'll be happy with that. Coxon's second, Jan Titz scores third, Matthias Weber gets fourth, so that's still a very good result for the Nissan boys. Wilkes gets fifth with Havlik sixth, seventh for Nikos Tsikopoulos, eighth for David Saber, and another win for him in the Total Cup, so he'll be happy with that, I'm sure. Ninth for, I believe at least, yep, ninth for Dave Simmons, and second in the Total Cup. And rounding out the top 10 was Oliver Thiem. 11th for Raymond Rideau, so he ran into trouble on the last lap. 12th for Juha Boos. 13th for Eivind Andersen. 14th for Hansa Mild. 15th for Philippe Martinelli. 16th for Peter Lavach. 18th for Mick Chapman. And Jason White finishes 19th. With Simon Watman 20th. Dylan Canton gets home, was the first retiree in 21st. And then we have Matthew Hull, Deschaven, Perez Mato out of the race earlier on in the going. So Peter Blom scores another win. So he'll be happy with that, I'm sure, and David Saber scores a win in the Total Cup, so he'll be surely be happy with that. And with that, we'll take a quick break and see if anyone jumps in and wants to chat with us. If not, then we'll cap off the broadcast then, but for now, talk to you in a bit.
Attention grid, you're all non-essential.
As we are joined by Peter Blom. Good evening, Peter.
Hello. Evening.
Looked like you had a lot of battles going on, and some good fun in the first race at least, and a win in the second. So I'd assume you're pretty happy with your evening.
Yeah, first race was very hard. I made a few mistakes in the first few corners, and I was behind a few cars, and especially Richard Coxon could not pass him because the track is so narrow. Driving a very good race. And after Richard in the first race, I made a mistake like 1 or 2 laps later, and he passed me again. And after that, I couldn't pass him anymore. Second race, I made a better start, and I was behind Jans for the first laps. I could not pass him either because he has more traction out of the slow corners because of his 4-wheel drive. So it was even harder to Jan than Richard, but I noticed that Jan made a few more mistakes in the fast corners than Richard. So one stage I was behind Richard and Jan, and I could pass Richard in the fast right-hand corner. Then I had enough speed to take Jan as well, but went over to my line, and he he drove into me a little bit. But I could pass him think 2 laps later in a quite a hairy maneuver, but it worked all right this time, and I'm happy with the win in the second race. Very close racing. I've never had to fight so hard before.
That's good to hear that.
Enjoyable. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
I think I lost 1 kilogram of moisture, I think.
Well, that is good, I think. I mean, that's one of the good sides with online racing and sim racing in particular, that you can burn some calories while having a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. And I was surprised that in the second race, I think it was Miroslav Havlik in the Peugeot.
Mm-hmm.
He was behind us all the time in 4th place, and I think he was hoping for a big crash so he could take the win. But it did not happen.
Yeah, it looked like he was sort of holding back and trying to look for any spills that fell off the table, as you say. And he did a good race, I'd say, finishing in the top 6th in both races.
Yeah, very good.
User joined your channel.
And I'll also like to ask you, as we are joined by Nikos Tayakopoulos and Oliver Thiem, looking at the next round, it'll be Thruxton once again. How do you rate your chances there this time around?
Yeah, I'm going for points again.
That's good to hear. And Peter?
Thruxton, oh yeah, that's the very fast track. I think I have a better setup now than the first race at Thruxton. So I think probably if Greg is there in the Volvo, I think he can take the win because he was too fast the last time there. And for the rest, I hope I can be podium there.
Okay. Nikos?
Oh, I just wanna gather as much points as I want because from what I see, the Volvos are doing pretty well in the constructors.
Okay. And we saw a little bit of battling for you, Oliver, in the first race.
Yeah.
I think you finished in the top 10 as well, with the 9th maybe?
User left your channel.
I'd assume you're
No,
pretty...
it was 7th in the first race.
Oh, sorry, 7th even, so I'd assume you're pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it was my highest placing so far. I got, I think it was 15th last race, so it's almost double.
Yeah,
So I'm pretty happy with that.
that's a nice little bit of improvement there. In the second race, I did notice that you were a bit further down in 11th and 12th and thereabout battling. Did you have any damage to your car, or was it just that everyone else sped up a bit more than you were able to do in the second race?
No, I was actually 7th at one. No, 7th or 8th at one point, but I overestimated my braking power and I hit the sand, so I had to fight back, which I managed to do. Managed to get down to 10th again. I was almost. I was catching Simmons up by 1 second per lap, but there was like 4 laps left. So, and he was 6 seconds in front of me, so I didn't have time to do it.
Well, that's unfortunate, but good to hear that you could have a pretty good fight back.
User joined your channel.
And Nikos, well, a lot of stuff going on in the first race. I don't quite remember, but I think you finished in the top 10 as well in the first race.
Yeah. It was 9th. I was somewhat better in position in race 1, but that damn corner, that fast right-hander, it just doesn't like the Volvo. It just kept sucking me off to the grass. I think I went out 2 times in that single corner, which killed my positions pretty fast, but I worked from there. I managed to get 9th and then 7th in the second race, in which again, it just spun out in the same place. But I was luckier and more warmed up compared to the first race, so I had a better result.
That's That's good to hear. And
Nikos, can I say you sound a bit like Fernando Alonso? And that's a compliment.
Yay,
It's a
thank
compliment.
you for that very insightful comment.
Yes. Are you sure you're not Spanish?
He can't be Alonso. His car doesn't break down that much.
oh,
Maybe he can take my Honda for a race, then we know for sure.
well, I've sort of ran out of questions, but I have one more, I think. How did you guys find the track? I know you said you didn't like some of the turns, Nikos, but other than that, how did you find the Oulton Park Foster's circuit this evening?
Compared to Knox Hill, everything is better about Oulton. The Volvo feels much more comfortable in this track. It had some nice straights where it can stretch its gears. It was bouncy. It was like the good kind of bouncy, not like, oh my god, why is it so horrible? And I think the third corner is the Foster's, I think. That one seems like a nice place for the Volvo, because I can ride in third gear and pretty much get a good exit and try to get into the inside of others. Like I did with Ray, but he shut the door and I almost killed my car on the tires.
Okay. And Oliver, how did you find Oulton Park this evening?
Well, Primera is not the fastest and on the straights, and there's a lot of them on Oulton Park. So, but it kind of made me sad that I missed the full version, because this is of course the shorter track, and I wanted to have raced that one. But it was a great short track that made for a lot of intense battles, which like Knock Hill was very nice.
That's good to hear. And finally, Peter, how did you find this Oulton Park layout?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I think you could see in the qualifying how close it was, especially in the second race, when everybody knew every inch of the track. And I think this was a very good track for the cars with not so much engine power. They could, you saw it with the Peugeot. He was running behind the leaders in the second race all the time, right behind us. I think next race with Houston, it will all be only fast and full speed. And I think then the Volvo and the Honda especially take the win, especially on engine power. But this track was great for close racing, but too narrow to pass, actually, I have to say. But you could only do something with passing if somebody made a mistake in front of you. So it's so narrow.
I can agree to that. I was behind David Saber for several laps because basically I had nowhere to pass him until he binned it a bit and I overtook him with classic Volvo power.
Yeah.
Well, that's...
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. Well, that's an issue that Oulton Park in general suffers with. On the new layout that they are running nowadays, they use the sort of middle ground with the hairpin halfway down the straight going down to islands. So I mean that's the only place really where people pass nowadays. And back in the 90s there were only really lodge for a place to pass, but that's just one of those things that you have to work around, sort of. But I think we'll cap off the broadcast here, so thank you very much to Nikos, Oliver and Peter for joining me in the booth.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you very much for
thank you.
again.
You're welcome, and thank you yourselves, and also thank you everyone for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed yourselves as much as I did this evening, and I hope you tune in I believe 2 weeks time. In 2 weeks time indeed, when we go back to Thruxton, the fastest circuit in Britain. But until then, take care and have fun.
Microphone muted.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jonatan.
Sound muted.
Till then, take care and have fun.
Microphone muted.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jonatan.
Sound muted.